This video really feels like something I've not done in a long time, and that's because it is something I haven't done in a long time, but I hope you're gonna find it useful today. Welcome to the video. Hey Spuds, how's it going? I'm Jamie. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I hope you're gonna enjoy it. I hope you're gonna learn something from it. It's a little bit different. It's been a while since I've spoken about my personal transition and answered questions about it. For a little background, this is a Q&A video on my lower surgery, my bottom surgery. That's not surgery on my butt. Basically, I am a transgender man, and 3 years ago I had stage 1 metoidioplasty. Metoidioplasty creates essentially a micro penis from what you've got going on down there because testosterone causes growth. And then a year and a half after that stage, I had testicular implants put in, and that's coming up to 2 years ago now. So I thought, let's do an updated answering of the questions about my penis and balls. If you'd like to know more about the process of metoidioplasty specifically, I've left a link to a really awesome animation in the description box if you want to go learn all about it. Today, I'm going to be answering questions about my specific experience. Is bottom dysphoria still there, or is it gone now? Was it worth it in the end? I like that question. For me, yes. Lower surgery, having metoidioplasty, the stages of metoidioplasty that I picked, very worth it. I have had a massive reduction in my lower dysphoria. It's like very minimal now, something that I can just very easily deal with. I can look in a mirror, I'm very happy with the aesthetic, I'm very happy with the functionality, it works very well for me, and yes, it was worth going through surgery and the recovery and everything, which I'm sure there will be questions on, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but yes, worth it. Thank you. Did you have to get used to going to the bathroom differently? This is a very good question, and the answer, to be honest, will depend on who you ask and what stages they had. So when having metoidioplasty, you can choose whether or not to have urethral lengthening. So if you don't have urethral lengthening, you pee out of the place you've always peed from, right? If you do have urethral lengthening, then you will pee out of your penis. I personally did not have urethral lengthening, meaning there was nothing really to get used to. There's nothing different for me, but if you do have lengthening, then you might have to practice a little bit, and it'll probably be something you need to get used to. What helped you most during recovery? My partner Shaba, to be honest. Her support, her love, looking after me, changing my dressings, all of that stuff, staying in the hospital, that helped me the most. And reminding myself that it was all going to be worth it. I did have a very uncomfortable recovery after first stage, so I just had to keep saying to myself, this is worth it, this is what you wanted, it's all going to be fine, don't worry. Would you do it again now that you know how it feels? I would very much not want the surgery again, but knowing how much more comfortable it makes me, I would do it again, yes. But I would very much be dreading it. Then there's a lot of questions about the recovery and the pain, like what was the recovery process like? Did it hurt a lot after surgery? How painful was it? Many questions like this. What I will say is that recovering from bottom surgery, particularly first stage, either metoidioplasty or phalloplasty, is gonna be probably quite rough. Like for a majority of people, if you have an easy time, you're in the minority. I'm not saying this to scare you, it's just what happens. You're having surgery, it's quite a big surgery, it's in a very sensitive area. Recovery is gonna hurt and most likely be very uncomfortable and painful. And some people will find it worse than others. So it doesn't mean that you're gonna find it absolutely horrible, but like any surgery, you're gonna have a recovery road that can be quite tricky. For me, I had complications during my first stage, so I had like a rather large hematoma that had to be squeezed with no painkillers, and I had to have emergency second surgery. So I was in a lot more pain because everything had to be messed around with twice, and it was prodded and poked a lot. I was so bruised. Oh my gosh, and very, very swollen. And so I really found that very tricky. I was also in hospital for a week. I couldn't walk properly for several weeks. I couldn't sit on the toilet properly for several weeks, and the catheter was horrible. I hated it. It was very uncomfortable. Just if any pressure went on it, no. It was a difficult process to recover from surgery. I've left the playlist to my full in the moment vlogs of my recovery in the description box because I think that captures it a bit more if you feel like watching that. Where the hell do the balls sit? I'm packing and I still don't know. Okay, so with metoidioplasty, and I mean this is for phalloplasty as well, they create a scrotum for the testicular implants by using the outer labia. I don't know exactly how they do it, but they use that skin to create the ball sack and like fuse it together, and then they put the implants in there and it sits like just under wherever your penis is gonna be. Everything's kind of brought forward and up a bit, but it will likely still sit lower than a cis guy. But I don't know, there's so much variation. I don't want to be rude, but I heard that FTM bottom surgery requires pumping. Sorry. No need to be sorry, I asked for questions. I don't think that's rude. There are two main, that's four, isn't it? There are two main types of bottom surgery for trans men and AFAB non-binary people, and that is metoidioplasty, which is what I had, and phalloplasty. So metoidioplasty uses what you have going on down there already. You end up with a smaller penis, but there's no pumping required for erections. With phalloplasty, this is what the pumping is in reference to, just in case I glossed over that a bit too quickly, which I definitely did. In phalloplasty, because the penis is created from a skin graft, either from your arm, thigh, or stomach, you require a pump if you want to have erections. Can you feel it? Yes, I have like full sensation. There's some scars, like very light scarring down there that is like lesser sensation because, you know, scar tissue. But apart from that, yeah, like sensation is fine. I'm trying to make the least evasive question. How's the silicone eggs? The silicone eggs are okay. One is perfect, A star on the eggness. The other one is too high, and I think it's scar tissue that's stopping it from like dropping into where it's supposed to be, or it's been put in a pocket that's too high for where it's meant to be. This sounds really confusing, but it's because I don't quite understand. They make a ball sack and then they put the balls in, but one of the balls is just sat higher and won't drop lower, even though there is room for it to drop lower. Does it look natural? Okay, there are a lot of questions about how it looks. I'm not going to go into like huge amounts of details, but what I will say is I personally think it looks reasonably natural. It's just smaller, but I think it looks pretty natural. So how does peeing work when recovery? So when you're recovering, typically you will have a catheter, and I had to like manually empty it, and I had a bag that I could connect it to where it would automatically empty when I was really not mobile and able to get out of bed properly. But when I was like mobile and walking around and stuff, I would just like empty it from the catheter, and that stayed in for 2 weeks, which I think is longer than normal. Does it ever feel weird having a penis? When I first had surgery and I was getting used to how everything felt, I was really hyper aware that there was stuff moving in a way it didn't used to move before. But it didn't feel weird. I thought it was really cool, to be honest. I still think it's cool. I'm very happy. And last question. Do you ever have the realization, oh my god, there is a penis, and suddenly you're really aware of it? Not anymore. But when I first had surgery, like this was more when I was recovered, because like when I was healing, I just didn't take any notice of anything except like, can I please walk and pee properly? Thank you very much. When I was like in the early days of being healed, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like if I saw myself in a mirror, I was like, yes, you're there now. But not anymore. It's just, it's there. It feels like it's always been that way. It feels like it's been that way for a long time. So yeah, I know there were some things I didn't go into a lot of depth over. It's because I made quite a lot of videos about my experience with this before, so I would encourage like checking those out if there's some information that you feel like you didn't get. I've obviously also linked to the animation about metoidioplasty if you want to learn more. I hope you found this useful. I would definitely recommend checking out some more information though if you want to know more. Think about giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.